Denzel Washington or Daniel Day-Lewis, who's better? Stupid question, really. I mean, the answer is obviously... Wait, what? Oh no, that's not what I was gonna say at all. Huh. Alright, let's break down these two titans of acting. Cause at first glance, it seems like comparing these two makes absolutely no sense. Like comparing a perfectly grilled steak to a Michelin star souffle. Both are exquisite, but serve vastly different tastes. I mean, the comparison itself is a bit of a trick because their approaches to acting is as vastly different as the characters that they decide to play. One disappears entirely and the other shines so brightly that you can't look away. So, who's better? Daniel Day-Lewis is the man of 1,000 faces, but even that feels like an undersell. He doesn't just wear a mask, he builds a new skull, grows new flesh, and implants memories to truly become his characters. His process is notorious, spending years preparing for a role, refusing to break character on set, and even adopting the lifestyle of his characters off camera. For instance, during the filming of The Last of the Mohicans, he reportedly lived in the wilderness, hunting and skinning animals to stay in character, even before they were shooting. Daniel Day-Lewis doesn't act, he transforms. Watch There Will Be Blood and try to find a hint of the Daniel Day-Lewis who charmed us in the Age of Innocence. Spoiler alert, you can't. Whether he's portraying Abraham Lincoln with that eerily high-pitched voice or channeling his inner oil tycoon, when you're watching his characters, you forget that Daniel Day-Lewis exists at all. You're left with the person he's portraying as if he conjured them into being. It's transcendent and almost supernatural how he can transform into another person. On the other hand, Denzel Washington is the master of embodiment. Denzel doesn't disappear into his roles, he brings the roles to himself. He's Denzel, yes, but he's Denzel feeling everything that the character feels so vividly that you can't help but to feel it too. That's his magic. You don't lose Denzel when you watch him. Instead, you gain a unique duality where you see the actor and the character blended together seamlessly. And Fences, his portrayal of Troy Maxson, isn't a Daniel Day-Lewis style transformation, it's a full emotional exorcism. You watch Troy's bitterness and regret crash through the screen, but still know it's Denzel Washington who's bleeding that heartbreak all over the set. When you're watching a Denzel performance, it feels like Denzel is in each of these situations. It's almost like, what if this happened to Denzel? And I believe every minute of his reactions. So rather than me feeling like this isn't Denzel Washington, I feel like Denzel Washington is so open emotionally that any situation that you put him in, he will react appropriately based on the character. The difference is, rather than embodying the person to inhabit their emotions, he allows their emotions to inhabit him. That's not to say that Denzel acts the same in every movie, because he doesn't, but you never forget that it's Denzel, which is an issue for a lot of movie stars, but is a strength for Denzel because he still manages to make the audience believe in the emotion that he's giving as much as if he were a different person each time. Watching a Denzel performance almost feels like he's allowing you to see the most intimate and vulnerable moments of himself. But he's so good that himself and the character become one, almost to the point where you can't tell the difference. He doesn't vanish, he captivates, and the artifice of "that's Denzel" doesn't take away from the authenticity. It's almost comforting. You know him, and that familiarity makes the vulnerability almost disarming. Now, Daniel Day-Lewis transforms through obsession. In My Left Foot, he portrays an artist with cerebral palsy. To inhabit this role, he stayed in a wheelchair on and off the set, refusing to break character even at lunch. The result is an unflinchingly raw portrayal that earned him his first Oscar. You feel the strain, the frustration, the triumph, all because Daniel Day-Lewis lived it. There Will Be Blood might as well be his acting thesis. As Daniel Plainview, he's not playing a man, he is a man driven by greed, ambition, and simmering rage.
I've abandoned my child!
Every line, every glare feels like a brushstroke in a painting he started years before production began. Who can forget?
I drink your milkshake.
It's not just a line, it's a masterclass in ferocity. Even in Lincoln, a performance that many feared would lean too heavily into caricature, Daniel Day-Lewis found the humanity. Now, for Denzel, you have a movie like Training Day where Alonzo Harris is all swagger, danger, and magnetism. It's not just the lines that make him terrifying and captivating, it's how Denzel owns the screen with his body language and voice. When Alonzo growls,
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
you don't think, what a great script, you think, this man is unhinged. And that's the brilliance of Denzel. He turns a character into an experience. Malcolm X shows off his range as an actor. He doesn't simply impersonate Malcolm X, he resurrects his passion, his flaws, and his transformation. You see the fire in his speeches, but you also see the quiet doubt in his private moments. It's an emotional symphony that Denzel conducts perfectly. And then there's Fences, where Daniel Day-Lewis might lose himself in Troy Maxon's backstory. Denzel makes you feel the weight of it right now. His performance is immediate, raw, and heartbreaking. His anger is volcanic, his regret is palpable. And even when he's towering over everyone in the scene, you never forget the deep vulnerabilities hiding behind his bravado. If you like this video or like any of the content on this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Also, consider becoming a member of my Patreon to help me continue making videos. Hit the link in the description for more. Here's the thing, comparing these two is like debating whether or not classical music is better than jazz or hip hop is better than rock and roll. They're just different ways of doing things. Daniel Day-Lewis disappears where Denzel engages. Daniel Day-Lewis's approach to acting is like a historian unearthing every last detail to build a wholly authentic creation. Denzel, on the other hand, comes in hot with a masterclass in raw humanity, so present and so honest that you can't help but believe. Day-Lewis's method is surgical precision. Denzel's is visceral truth. Daniel Day-Lewis will build the skeleton of a character from the ground up, whereas Denzel just is. Both of these men use different methods for getting to the truth, which is the raw emotion behind the character. So who's better, Denzel or Daniel Day-Lewis? Well, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for an actor who can disappear entirely into a role to the point where you don't even recognize them, then it's Daniel Day-Lewis. But if you wanted someone who could take a script and make the emotions resonate to the bone without transforming into somebody else, and while still bringing that gravitas of a movie star, then it's Denzel Washington. Here's the thing, you don't actually have to choose. Their greatness lies in their differences. I don't think either one of them could do what the other does. They're playing two different games at the highest possible level, and we're just lucky to reap the benefits of it. These are two of the very best at the craft of acting, and they find different approaches to get to the same result, which is emotional connection with the audience. And isn't that what we're looking for in the first place?